Today, we are going to break down a concept that honestly explains so much about human conflict, whether it's at work or at home. We're going to dive into a psychological trap called the drama triangle, and more importantly, figure out how to escape it.
You know that feeling, right? That argument you have with a coworker or a family member that seems to follow the exact same script every single time. It's so frustrating, it's draining, and it feels like there's just no way out. But what if I told you there's a predictable pattern behind it all? Well, there is, and just understanding it is the first step to finally breaking free.
It's called the drama triangle, and it's a model that identifies 3 specific, predictable roles people fall into during a conflict. And get this, we fall into these roles because on some level, they meet a hidden need we have, even while they're keeping us completely stuck. It becomes this self-perpetuating cycle that stops any real resolution or growth from happening.
So, what are these roles? You can think of them as the 3 classic characters in this dysfunctional little play. Let's meet the players.
First up, we have the victim. The victim's whole stance is poor me. They feel like life is happening to them. Now, psychologically, this isn't about being a genuine victim of harm. It's about adopting a powerless mindset that outsources all responsibility. It's actually a way to avoid taking risks or facing tough choices. Next, we've got the rescuer. This is the person who swoops in to help the victim, a lot of the time without even being asked. But here's the thing. It's not always just about kindness. The rescuer is often driven by a really deep need to feel valued and important, to be the hero. By fixing other people's problems, they also get to avoid dealing with their own. And rounding out this triangle is the persecutor. This role is all about blame and control. The persecutor uses criticism and dominance to feel superior and in charge. And this is often, deep down, a defense mechanism. By keeping the focus on someone else's flaws, they never have to confront their own vulnerability or their own insecurities. But here is the real trap, and this is where it gets really fascinating. We don't just pick one role and then stay there. Nope. The true toxicity of the drama triangle is how quickly and unconsciously we switch between these positions, sometimes within the exact same conversation. Let me give you a classic example of this switch. A rescuer offers some unsolicited advice, but when their help is rejected, they suddenly feel unappreciated. Their internal monologue flips from, "I'm here to save you," to "poor me, I was only trying to help." And just like that, in an instant, they've gone from rescuer to victim. And this is exactly how the cycle spins. The rescuer offers help, it gets rejected. The rescuer then feels wronged and becomes the new victim. So what happens next? Well, in response, the original victim might get defensive and lash out, saying something like, "I never asked for your help in the first place." And boom, they've just become the persecutor. Everyone has switched roles, and the drama just spins on, locking everyone in. Okay, so that's the problem. A totally draining, negative loop. But the good news is, once you can see the triangle, you can choose to step out of it. There is a powerful alternative, a way to completely transform this entire dynamic. The solution really lies in flipping the script. For every single one of those dysfunctional roles, there's a positive, empowered counterpart. We call this the empowerment triangle. The victim becomes a creator, the rescuer becomes a coach, and the persecutor becomes a challenger. Let's take a look at what each of these powerful new roles looks like. So the creator, they move from poor me to asking, what can I actually do about this? Instead of focusing on problems, they focus on the outcomes they want. They take responsibility for their choices and they take small, concrete steps forward. It is a fundamental shift from just reacting to everything to being proactive. The rescuer transforms into a coach. Now, a coach doesn't just jump in with all the answers. Instead, they ask really empowering questions. Things like, what have you already tried? Or, what do you think the next best step is? A coach believes in the other person's ability to solve their own problems, supporting them without taking away their power.
And finally, the persecutor evolves into the challenger. A challenger still holds people accountable, but they do it with respect and with a focus on growth, not blame. Their feedback is clear, it's honest, and it's intended to build someone up, not tear them down. They challenge people to be their absolute best selves.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in the real world, especially in a professional setting? Well, this model is incredibly useful for leaders who are trying to shift their teams from a culture of drama to a culture of ownership.
Just think about these simple but really powerful shifts. A persecutor asks, whose fault is this?
But a leader who is rooted in curiosity asks, what can we learn from this? Instead of trying to control every single outcome, they foster collaboration, trusting their team to find solutions. This is the practical, day-to-day shift from drama to creation.
But you know, when it's all said and done, it all comes down to self-awareness. You simply cannot change a pattern you don't even see. The first and absolutely most powerful step is to just notice when you've stepped into the triangle. To pause for a second and ask yourself, which role am I playing right now? Am I the victim, the rescuer, or the persecutor?
And that brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. As you think about the recurring conflicts in your own life, whether it's at work or at home, which of these drama roles do you find yourself defaulting to most often? Recognizing that pattern, that's your key. That is the first step on the path from drama to real empowerment.